Hello and welcome everybody to today's live. I was actually I'll say hello and quickly let you all come in, and you know that I love when you say hello and let me know where you're watching from and either how many weeks pregnant you are or how old your baby is who you are watching with. But I was just having a little bit of a giggle. And to any of the mums out there who maybe have some older children, I'm sure you can relate. So I share an office with my husband. He runs his own business and we're in a co-working space. And he was just chatting to one of the other guys that works in the office about how he is taking over cooking in our household for the next month. And I am so super duper excited about this. Like, I jumped out of bed this morning. I'm so happy. I'm doing dinner tonight because I already had it prepared and organized. And then I am stopping doing the cooking for a whole month just to have a little bit of a circuit break because I'm so sick of it. I have to say, I am so sick of it. And I always said that, and this might be totally boring for you all, sorry, but I always said that I would cook one meal, and if my children didn't eat it, you know, then bad luck. And I have found that I've slipped into cooking a meal sometimes for Ross and I, then cooking something different for Polly, then cooking something different for Theo. They've got really different taste buds. Anyway, last night I had 3 meals on the go, and Polly complained about the lumpiness of her tuna mornay, and I just lost it, totally lost it. I was like, crazy woman. So Roscoe is now stepping in to do our cooking for the next month, which I am very, very excited about. So I was just laughing about that, and I was a minute late getting in here. But for all of my beautiful, beautiful Birth Beat tribe, hello and welcome. It is so great to have you here. And I jump on here every Monday and every Thursday just to answer any questions that you might have around your pregnancy, your birth, or how you're preparing for your childbirth. We get some questions sent in via Instagram, and we have a lot of you beautiful mamas who like to ask questions here as well. It's a bit of a funny light here today, sorry, because we've got a bit of a different studio set up. We did a live masterclass here on Thursday night, which was brilliant. If you didn't get a chance to see it and you do want to get a chance to see it, we've had a few issues with the links that went out in the emails. So if you would like to see a replay of the live masterclass, just put a comment here in the box for me, just write live, and I'll message that to you today, because we will keep it up for today and for tomorrow, because I know a few of you had a couple of issues with re-watching it, and I want to make sure that you do get an opportunity to watch it. We covered things like how to best prepare yourself so that bub is in the best position for your labor and birth. So again, we talked around, you know, what's the difference between breech or cephalic, which is just head down, bottom down, what you can be doing if you are breech to try and help get bub into the best position. We talked about posterior. We talked about the role of your partner or your support person and what they can do to help you. I talked about doing a poo in labor. And I know that people kind of like, why is she talking about this? And I talk about it because I think so many women are scared or afraid of doing a poo, or, you know, like concerned, do they go to the bathroom? Do they do it on the bed? How does that all work? So we really actually unpack that so that you know what to expect. As a midwife, I think it's really important that you know these things and that we don't gloss over them. I just had a mum who sent me a message and said, thank you so much for talking about hemorrhoids. So she had been suffering from hemorrhoids after her first birth. She's now pregnant with her second. And she said she just felt like nobody, you know, she'd talk about hemorrhoids or mention it to her midwife or GP or obstetrician, and they'd be like, oh yeah, it's just part of, you know, pregnancy. And I was like, well, there's actually lots you can do to make it more comfortable and more pleasant for you. So it was really good being able to support her with that. So please, if you have any questions, there's nothing that I'm not happy to talk to you about. If I can't answer it, I'm going to ask someone else. So please say hello. Let me know where you are watching from. Let me know either how many weeks pregnant you are, and if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them of me. Just pop them here in the comments box and I will answer as many as I can in the next like 20 minutes. I'll just do 20 minutes of power. Hello, Amanda. Amanda says, hi, 28 weeks. I toss and turn a lot in bed. Should I worry about bub and the cord? Look, Amanda, first and foremost, your baby, okay, so I'm just going to show you. Bub is in here like so. I'm going to grab the placenta and the cord. And depending on how much fluid you have as well. So here's Bub inside of your belly. Here's the cord that's connected to the placenta. Usually will sit up like that. If you're 28 weeks, if anyone's had placenta previa, sorry, I can't really see very well because it's so bright with the light. I'm not sure if you can see me. If anyone's had placenta previa, this is just a good way to be able to show what placenta previa looks like. Is Bub is in your tummy like so, and the placenta is low, and at the bottom, if baby is head down, so in that cephalic position, and here is the opening of your cervix, and the placenta is sitting across that. So what we want it to do is come up the side and ideally be sitting up here, so that when you put any pressure on the baby, on the baby's head, which puts pressure on the baby's cervix, we don't want that to be pushing on the placenta, because that's what can cause a bleed. So that's just a little FYI while I've got the placenta out. But when you're moving around just day to day, your baby is actually really well protected inside of you. So you think about, and I think when you talk about rolling around at night, you also then think about, professional athletes or people who still train or exercise or, still have jobs that involve them being really active. A lot of people are still able to do that in pregnancy. So it is so unlikely that your movements just day to day would impact or hurt Bub. They're actually really well protected inside of you. That is why babies stay safe inside of you. That is why we want to make sure that your amniotic sac and your bag of waters around the Bub are maintained. So we don't want your waters to break or anything like that, because that's when it starts to be risky for Bub. So if everything is well, you've got normal amount of fluid, you're a healthy, well person, I wouldn't be worried at all. Just if you are a restless sleeper, around that, in terms of you getting more comfortable for sleep, what I encourage you to do, and again, it's just like having 50 pillows. We've got a video on how to do this in our course, because our course is not just about just the childbirth education. It's about how to be more comfortable. What's the prenatal yoga? What are the stretches? How do you get more sleep at night? That stuff's really important. But lying on your side and having a pillow underneath your belly, a pillow underneath your arm, a pillow wedged in behind your back, and you might need your partner to do that, and then a pillow between your thighs and between your lower legs. So it's like you've got sort of pillows all the way down the side, and that will help take the weight and hopefully, Amanda, make you more comfortable. She's just said she has an anterior placenta. There you go. And again, that's, anterior, posterior, not really a huge difference. It will actually probably just affect when you start to feel the movements. But please know that Bub is really secure and safe inside of you. I hope that is helpful for you. Angela is, hello Angela, 38 weeks, first baby, a girl. Oh, congratulations. It will be not long before that little bubba arrives. Claire, good morning, Edwina. We had our beautiful baby girl on Friday night. We called her Lydia, and we are so in love. Had our first night at home last night and loving every minute. Unfortunately, missed your class because we were in labor. So would love to see the replay if possible. This platform has been helpful throughout, and we couldn't have got through it without your information and support. Oh, Claire, that is so lovely. Send me a photo of gorgeous little baby Lydia. I love hearing when those beautiful bubbas start arriving. Amanda has said, thank you, Amanda, my absolute pleasure. I think it's good just that you are able to be provided with some reassurance as well in a timely way. What I will say, and what I always say, is if you have any emergencies or any worries, and particularly if it's during the nights, 2 o'clock in the morning, I might not be answering my questions at that time. Mind you, last night I did feel I was awake from midnight till 2. But I think it is important that you know that maternity units also are always open, okay? So a staffed maternity unit will always have a midwife, because we don't know when a woman is going to walk in. Some maternity units aren't necessarily staffed 24/7, but the majority of them are. And if you know where you're birthing your baby, please remember that that's a really good resource to be able to call the maternity unit and ask any of your questions if you have concerns during the night. And I highly recommend doing that as opposed to going and Googling or putting it out there on social media, because often the answers aren't evidence-based or it's not current information. So it's really important that you support yourself with current information. Now, one of the questions that has been sent through already says, how much milk should my 5-day-year-old, which is funny how we say that, isn't it? 5-day-old, be getting to be putting weight back on? Oh, this is a great question. So, oh, thank you, Claire. Claire's going to share the birth story with us in a little photo. For this mama, but for all of you mums to know, particularly if you're currently pregnant, we expect that after your baby is born, your baby will lose weight. So it's considered normal or within the normal parameters for bub to lose up to 10% of their body weight in that first couple of days. The reason being that bub has lots of fluid on board, so once they start doing wheeze and poos, they can really lose a lot of that fluid. Plus they were constantly basically eating and drinking while they were inside of you, and then they come out and it's not as constant, and it takes a little bit of time for your milk to come in, but actually the weight loss is more about the fluid loss. So it's totally normal and we expect that. However, if it's over 10% of the baby's birth weight, so let me just say, to put that into relativity for you, if you've got, and like this is probably about a 3 kilo baby, so you've got a 3 kilo baby and your baby's born and you're told it's 3 kilos, it would be totally acceptable and normal to expect that baby to lose up to 30 grams. However, if they lose more than that, then we might be looking at just why is that, and keeping a really close eye on their blood sugars, things like that, helping you to have lots of skin to skin to help your milk coming in. And it's often not the end of the world, and if it's borderline, not to worry too much. So with your bub being 5 days old, again, we expect them to lose a little bit of weight. But so don't put too much pressure on yourself. That's what I think it's important that you know, so that you're not feeling really stressed. You're feeling stressed, it's not going to help the oxytocin, it's not going to help the milk production, and that's what we want. We want lots of the feel-good vibes. But what I would say to help bub gain weight is just demand feeding. So demand breastfeeding whenever bub is looking for a feed, offering some milk to that baby. We don't worry so much around the volume with breastfeeding, okay? It's actually, is bub gaining weight? Is bub settled after a feed? And does bub have wet and dirty nappies? They're really good indications to us that bub is having a good breastfeed. You'll also start to notice, particularly around day 5, that your breasts are feeling really kind of heavy and full. They might even be quite hot. That's a good sign. It means that the milk's coming in. If there's any pain or any red marks or anything, just get them checked out by your midwife. We want to check that there's not any blocked ducts or any precursors to mastitis. But to help your milk come in, again, what I said, lots of relaxation. If you're experiencing any pain from after the birth, so if you've got a sore fanny or if you've had a Caesar, so your Caesar scar is sore, make sure you treat that pain. So be having some paracetamol, be using some heat packs or some ice packs, whatever is providing you with some relief, because also when you're in pain, you're less likely to be making that good milk and that milk supply to be coming in, okay? So we want you to be feeling really good. You want to be having a really well hydrated, good balanced diet. All of these things are going to help your milk come in the early days, which is then going to help bub put on weight. So demand breastfeeding as many times as they want going to the breast, and lots of skin to skin. So see how bub is like this. Bub will have a nappy. You have your shirt off, your top off, and just have bub lying up here on your chest, if not on your chest, on your partner's chest, in between feeds. Obviously, if you're having a sleep, not having bub up here, but bub could go to your partner's chest while you're having a sleep during the day. Lots of rest, lots of skin to skin, making sure that you're really well hydrated, healthy, balanced diet. That's all going to help with your milk supply, which is then going to help bubs. So if bub is demand breastfed, mama, honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about sort of focusing on the volume of your milk, because again, you're not going to be able to measure that if bub is demand breastfed, but more, is bub settled? Does bub have wet and dirty nappies? And the weight will follow. I hope that is helpful. This other mama has said, what can I do to help my 1-month-old with tummy pain? He has had it bad for 3 days now. definitely something that we see really commonly in newborns. And again, it's really kind of developmentally appropriate and normal. Bubs get very gassy, okay? And the gas and the trapped gas, just like it does for you or I, if you have a fart or if you have some trapped gas, it makes your tummy feel uncomfortable. And sometimes you can even feel on your little bubbers that their tummy feels quite tight. So that is why it's really important, particularly if you have a gassy baby, is after a feed to be winding them, whether you put them up and over your shoulder after they've had a feed and giving them a nice soft pat, and it might be for 10, 15 minutes to help all of that gas come out, because they've gone from being a water breather and now they're born into this world. So they've gone from breathing the amniotic fluid, drinking their own wee, just all fluid, and now all of a sudden they've learning to be an air breather. So it's really common that we get a lot of trapped gas, whether that's a burp or whether that's a fart. So it's important that we help them to release that gas. So burping them, and it might be up and over their shoulder like that, or you might be winding them, again, just sort of putting them up on your knee, supporting their neck and putting them over their shoulder like that is a really nice way to be able to help burp a baby. And if you feel like when they need to do a poo or they have a little fart there, when you're changing their nappy, I do what I call running man. I'm just going to see if I can do this here on my knee. Yes. And sort of letting like a little bit of a massage with their legs onto their tummy, so that you're helping release that gas. Nice warm bit of oil rubbed into the tummy, or whatever cream you're using. Remember, don't use anything with lots of preservatives or any strong chemicals, because their skin's really sensitive, but just giving them a nice little massage as well around their belly. They are top ways to help try and release that gas. And it's important that we help try and release that gas so that they're comfortable and not feeling distressed. So burping, winding, helping a little fart out, all of those ways are going to help you to have a more settled baby. It's also going to help your baby to sleep, because if they wake up with an uncomfortable tummy feeling or a pain, they will cry out and they will be quite distressed by it. So 1 month old, really, really common, and it's where we see a lot of people say, oh, has my baby got reflux or colic? But really it probably is just a burp or a trapped fart, and those little ways can help release that so that bub is more calm. Sorry, I just missed a question here. If you've got any questions here, guys, just pop them in the comments. Alicia has said, hi Edwina, I have a 10-month-old who still wakes overnight between 2 and 3 times for a feed as I'm still breastfeeding, and I'm wondering if this has now turned into a habit, or is this okay to still be waking so often? It definitely seems to be his comfort to settling back to sleep, but I do want to get away from so many wake-ups. Okay, awesome question, Alicia, and definitely one that I very commonly am answering in our sleep program. I actually did a one-on-one consult, so if anyone wants to do our sleep and support program, it's $47 for a month, but you can also book a one-on-one consult with me. And I had one of my one-on-one consults with a mum yesterday afternoon, which is really interesting because she has a 9-month-old baby who, very similar scenario, Alicia, still demand breastfed, still, really happy to be breastfeeding, but has found that they've gone from 2 feeds a night to 3, now sometimes 3 or 4. And again, this could be associated with a little bit of an 8-month to 10-month to 12-month, because they're all varied, sleep regression. So we went through some tips with her of some things that just to try, okay? So again, if you're watching this and you're happily breastfeeding 2 or 3 times a night and it's not a concern for you, then that's absolutely fine. What I say around sleep is it's only a problem if it's a problem for you. So Alicia, you have expressed to me that you would like to possibly not have so many wake-ups. So I think it's important that now is the time that we look at how we can support you with that. I am just really conscious that this whole sleep space, I didn't realize it before I went into it, is very political, and some people are like, no, you must, and that, like you must do it this way or you must do it that way. And I'm like, can we all just be really kind to each other and go, hey, whatever works for you. If you are happily co-sleeping and feeding every 2 hours and that works for you and your family, then that's great. But it doesn't mean that that's what everyone else needs to be doing as well. So let's just remember that. And I think this is a really common time, Alicia, that people are like really happily demand fed during the night, but I'm now feeling like it's not necessarily what you want to keep doing. So again, I think it's important that I talk to that really openly and honestly. Alicia, I would just say a few things. What is the day sleeps looking like? Is it possible that Bub's maybe getting too much sleep during the day, or on the flip side, overtired, and that's what's leading to frequent wake-ups? I would want to know, what are the calorie intake like during the day? So how's Bub feeding? Is Bub feeding really well in terms of having good solids and good amount and volume, good sort of calorie amount getting in during the day? Because again, is Bub actually waking up during the night because they're still wanting those calories? So are we filling Bub up during the day is definitely the next thing. The third thing is, again, if this is associated with a regression, but it doesn't really sound like it's a regression for you, this is just the norm. It's not that it's a bad habit at all. It's just, it might be a habit, and it's a habit that we need to break, or it's a sleep association that we need to replace with another sleep association. So I'm curious to know, can your bubba wake up, not have a feed, and still go back to sleep, or able to, even better, put themselves back to sleep if they wake up? Because we all wake up, like adults wake up. I was awake from bloody 12 till 2 last night, but again, I had a lot on my mind. But the same sort of things happen to babies. We all wake. Adults, children, we all wake, but it's about whether we can learn and know how to have that positive way of being able to put ourselves back to sleep. So it might be, Alicia, that we just need to help you teach Bubba how to put themselves back to sleep without that feed. And again, just come and have a look at the program. It's super simple. There's no cry it out. That's not, I don't advocate for any stressful ways of doing it, but I can be able to just give you some tips on look at those things. And then if not, and you just come and have a look at birthbeat.com and you'll see our program there. And I'll be able to show you exactly how to help Bub go to sleep. Olivia says, Alicia, I have a 10-month-old too, and she has just started waking more. I suspect it's habit, and she's really getting into her solids. Yeah, so Olivia and Alicia, exactly, really, really common time. The other thing is, if they are waking up more frequently and we think it could be associated with a regression, what I would encourage you to do is have a look at what new things they've learned. Are they just starting to crawl, pull up, maybe even starting to walk? If that is happening, making sure that they're using those skills lots and lots, and you're down in front of their face and filling up their sort of emotional cup and letting their brain know that they're mastering those skills. So, you're so clever, baby girl. Look at you learning to crawl. I'm so proud. And saying that over and over and over, and letting her use those new skills over and over and over. It's a very repetitive process, but it helps her to understand, yep, I've got this skill now, as opposed to them waking up at night and being like, oh, I want to try this new trick, or I want to show this off to mum or dad. Definitely try that as well. It's hugely helpful. But again, just DM me or come and have a look at birthbeat.com. As I said, you've got access to the program there. It's a very wise investment so that you can be getting some more sleep and getting some really great positive habits there. Salsa Bill says, hi Edwina, my 5-month-old always does a loud grunting noise. Is there any reason as to why she does it? Look, no. If it is a grunt and it's not associated with her being short of breath or anything like that, if that's her normal, babies can be really noisy, okay? Anyone who says sleep like a baby, I'm like, what? Loud, unpredictable, waking often, moving lots. Like, that's actually what a baby, and particularly a newborn and an older baby, look like when they're sleeping. So it could just be, again, that she wants to do a fart or a poo, or that's just her doing those grunts. So if it's not associated with her breathing, or if you've got any concerns about her breathing, I wouldn't be worried. If you are worried, record it so that you can show your GP next time you're seeing your GP or your community family child health nurse. And then you've just said, or is there a method to help her stopping it? If it is trapped gas, like what I talked about earlier, I might make that my little reel. I've committed to making a reel each week, so I might make that like how to wind and get trapped gas out of a baby. So I'll make that. So it's, there's different ways of doing it, particularly for a burp, just the simple burping over on your shoulder. It might be supporting up on your knee and bringing it up like that. Again, that's a really good way. Running man, so when they're on the change table, using their legs to help release that gas, or a bit of baby tummy massage. All is going to help them to release that gas. Okay, Zoe, hi Ed, I'm 37 plus 6 and I've noticed that his movements aren't as strong as they were last week. He's still moving and having hiccups, but it's not like an alien trying to escape anymore. Should I be worried or normal because he has less room to stretch? Zoe, such a good question. And I have to say, it's a little bit of a myth that once they're, that they run out of room. If you notice any changes, whether it's a decrease or an increase to what your normal movements are, please give your maternity unit a call and come up and just let them have a listen to Bub and get Bub checked out. Particularly if you notice a dramatic drop or a dramatic increase in movements, you need to be doing that sooner rather than later. So movements, again, sometimes they do change a little bit, but it's just getting used to your norm. If you go up and get checked, Zoe, and they go, no, all perfectly normal, everything's great, then you go, okay, good, that's reassuring to me, and I know that this is the new norm for me and for Bub. Make sure that you're well hydrated, you've had something to eat, and that you're getting some rest, because again, that can impact movements. But if you've noticed any sudden change in movements, I think it's super important that you do just give your midwife a quick call and get that checked out, even if it's a decrease or an increase. So that's for everybody that's listening. That is super important. Ashley, hi Edwina, I'm 31 weeks pregnant and noticed the last few weeks Bub has look at that, very similar question. The most strongest movements and seems to be on the far right side, like way to the side a lot. I have an anterior placenta and was low lying at 20 weeks. Maybe it's moved up since then. Could that be why Bub chills so far to one side? So Ashley's sort of saying that she can feel that her Bub's sort of sitting and pulling right over to one side. Do you feel a heaviness to one side, or are you feeling lots of movements to one side? Because if you're feeling lots of movements, it could be that actually Bub's kicking and punching over like that, or it could be that Bub is heading over this side. Ashley, I would strongly recommend getting our free 10-minute video. It is on the website, how to get Bub into the ultimate birth position. We also shared it with those that did our live masterclass on Thursday night. So did you do the masterclass with us, Ashley, on Thursday night? If you did, go and watch that video, because again, that will help get Bub into a more even optimal position, which you need to be doing not only for your comfort now, because I imagine it's sort of feeling a little bit uncomfortable, but it also helps to get Bub into a really good position for your labor and birth. So I would go and check that video out. Alicia said, thank you so much, Edwina. I'll definitely have a look at the program for sure and see where we can go from there. Bubs doesn't settle themselves. It's more me helping with settling with a hug, rock, and can put back down, but not every time. Yeah, Alicia, I think you just need some support on how to do age-appropriate settling. Again, no cry it out. I hold your hand. I show you exactly what will work for your little bubba. And if you want to do a one-on-one consult, I can jump on the phone with you and really go through that in detail. Olivia says, Edwina, does your sleep program help with tips to get baby back to cot? I reckon there's probably more there, Olivia, that I can't see. Yes, so we talk about transition from even if you're co-sleeping into a bassinet, or if you're moving from a bassinet into a cot, but we actually also go into if you're going from a cot into a big bed. Depends on the age of your baby. Nazarene, sorry Edwina, you missed my question. Nazarene, I'm sorry. Can you repost it again? Or I'm just scanning here to see if I can see it. Sorry guys, sometimes 36 weeks plus 3, hello, sorry. Nazarene, I can't see your question. Sorry, can you post it again? Sorry guys, haven't had my morning coffee. Clearly I'm not on the game. Okay. Olivia has said, Nazarene, post your question again, sorry. We have a 10-month-old that falls asleep feeding, and when she's out back in cot, she instantly wakes and sits up and then won't resettle. Needless to say, we want to get her back in the cot. I am feeling more than challenged and fearing once she's crawling. So Olivia, yes, 100%. So I actually think that's not only about the cot, but it's about giving you some skills to teach your bubba around how to go to sleep. Do you know what I mean? Without needing your assistance or without needing you there. Because you can imagine that feeling as well. Like you have someone there feeding or rocking you to sleep, and then you go to sleep and then you wake up and they're not there. That can be quite alarming. So it is about kind of going, okay, well, how do we help bub securely, comfortably, happily go to sleep on their own, so that when they do wake up, they're able to do that again without needing you to come in and help them go back to sleep with every sleep. And this is like lifetime of helping them with being able to go back to sleep and have really healthy sleep habits. All right, team Nazarene, I realize I have, it's 10:30 and I have not answered your question. Send me a DM, lovely. I am very sorry. I cannot see where that question has come up. All right, team, if you do want to watch the live masterclass and you haven't had an opportunity, send me a quick DM. I will send you the link. We have a special code that we are sharing where you can get a discount, but it is a very limited time. So if you want to look at it today, please make time to look at it today. And I will be back on here on Thursday morning. And if you have any questions that I haven't got to, you can pop them over on Instagram and I'll answer them in stories. All right, lots of love. Keep letting me know when all these bubs are arriving. I absolutely love it. Talk soon. Bye.